Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 26th episode of the Wartower Spotlight. Today we're going to talk with John Stumme about the upcoming Guild Wars content update that will hit the live servers on March the 3rd. Yes, that's later today. Chances are the build is already up and running if you didn't catch this video early. Today's show is all about the original game. But wait, even if you're just into Guild Wars 2, there might be still some nice background lore for you. So stay tuned for a lot of information about the 7-hero group, the new mission hub Embark Beach, a closer look at the recent Dervish update, as well as changes to PvE related skills and titles, interface improvements, some juicy stuff for all the pre-searing players out there, and one big jar of pure awesomeness hero-wise. So who's this John Stumme? I'm glad you asked. John is the lead game designer for the Guild Wars 1 live team. Yes, the group of people behind all the recent Guild Wars Beyond updates, building the story arc leading up to the events of Guild Wars 2. So if you're interested in lore and want to know all about what happened in the time before the rise of the Elder Dragons, give the first installment a try. If you're not already playing, that is. Who could tell you more about who John Stumme is and what the live team is up to than the man himself? John, welcome to our show. Glad to have you here with us today. How are you doing over there at ArenaNet?
Well, we're doing fantastic over here. Today is actually a really big day for us. This is the day that the Dervish build is going out, so we're all pretty excited here in the studio for that and for the things that are to come.
So how's the team doing this close to the release of such a major update? Do you still get enough sleep?
Actually, there's panic and there's fires going, actually we're doing really good and everyone is well rested. It's something that we are definitely trying to make an effort to do better at is, when we have our things scheduled well in advance that we know we're prepared for build day, we're in good shape, nobody is overstressing themselves over these things. It is a lesson that I learned from Eric when I started here earlier. I would sometimes do way too much in crunch time, and after, say, the second or third time they caught me asleep at my computer at 8 in the morning, they kicked me out of the building and said, "Don't do that again." So that's something that I have tried to take to the team with me.
The live team has put lots and lots of work into this content patch. What can you tell us about it?
This one is going to be a really big one. This is a pretty major build for us. There's a little bit of something in there for everybody. We have our major headlighting features. We have Embark Beach, which is the outpost for players that are looking to group up. And whether you're taking on missions, whether you're doing bounties, if you're doing vanquishes, which is something we've added to the area. Whatever it is, it's a central location that allows you access to all of these different places and makes it easier if you are looking to either get help with something or if you just have free time and you want to help someone else. It's a central location to go to find and meet up with other people. For the people that are more inclined to be solo players, at the same time we're putting out the 7-hero parties will go with this build. Along with that, there's just a ton of other features that go along with this that are kind of addressed at the big theme for this build is improving the quality of life for people that are playing Guild Wars, and you'll see a lot of the features are centered around that.
There have always been those players who say, "Yuck, other people kind of smell funny and they never bow down to my every command." The 7-hero group must be heaven for them.
So 7 Heroes is something that's been a long time coming for the game. I know it's something that players have really wanted. We're happy to be able to bring it to you. So some of the things about how it's going to work is your 7 heroes will operate the same way that 3 heroes do normally in terms of you're able to set their skills, you're able to set their equipment and their attributes. The only major difference is that for your final 4 heroes, they'll be following the all flag that the henchmen use because we want it to basically be that if you are one player It's nice to be able to take all of these heroes, because there are parts of the game that are difficult to play with just heroes and henchmen, particularly the War and Kryta content, where there's a level disparity between what it is that you can bring in terms of henchmen and the actual content that you're playing through. But at the same time, we don't want one person to be the absolute equivalent of a group of human players. So this is kind of a checks and balances thing, but we think it's pretty exciting to be able to have the exact builds that you want. And so there's an appeal there that's not just for the solo players, but also people that like making team builds. Like, there's going to be a lot for them to play around with this.
Speaking of changes to the interface, there have been some rumors about enhancement for necromancers?
That is correct. We have a Minion UI panel which is going in. This is one of those things where when you say it, it's like, well, that doesn't sound like that's very exciting. But what it actually is doing is, so all of your minions you can now keep track of on a separate bit of UI. So as a human, it's no longer a matter of trying to play a minion master and it's like, okay, this one over here is about to die, and you're constantly having to watch your minions and their bars degrading around you. This makes it a lot easier to keep track of them, which ones have their enchantments that need to be on them, which ones are about to die. And honestly, it actually makes it fun to play as a minion master, as opposed to just relegating that role to a hero who's just coldly efficient at it.
I had prepared a long story about a time when arenas were separate outposts scattered all over the world, with people struggling to find groups, and how they were merged into random and team arenas, and some clever remarks about seeing some parallels here. But on the other hand, I could just let you do the talking. Embark Beach?
So Embark Beach is, as I've said, it's one of our major features for this build, a place where people can come together to find things to do. When you're actually there, there's going to be a lot of different NPCs that are congregating there are different areas for Tyria and the Northlands. There's Cantha and there's Alona. Around there are all the various merchants, so it makes it easy for, if you're getting started going out to do something or you're coming back from something, you have all the service NPCs there to make it quick and easy. For actually going to places, there are NPCs at each of those locations where you can talk to them, and it brings up a dialogue that you can say, I'd like to help, and it lists the areas where you can go, and then from there you can pick your final destination. That list will take you to every place in the game that there is currently a mission that you can start, and when you go to those outposts, in every mission place there is now a Zaishen scout that if you talk to them, they can send you back to Embark Beach. So that way, if you're someone that is going through the storyline and you hit a hard point that you can't seem to get past, and if there's not anyone there to help you out, you can talk to the scout, sends you to Embark Beach, and you can find someone that's like, hey, I'm trying to do this mission, if you could help out, that'd be awesome. It's going to all of the mission locations as opposed to every single outpost in the game, because at that point it's going to be really huge lists, and most of them are pretty central locations anyway. You can get to things really easily, and doing this, it lets you get around some of the problems that we've had with groups traveling together before. For example, if you're going from one of the continents to another, sometimes you might have to go through a point that is a smaller party size than what your party currently is. So you and 6 friends end up here together, and the other 2 get separated out, and then you have to meet back up together, reform your group at your final destination, and then go. This cuts out a lot of that kind of clunky, unfortunate behavior.
Almost a year now you worked on the much anticipated Dervish update. You can imagine we were as excited as you to finally get the juicy details. What was the intent behind the new Dervish? What roles will he be able to fill out now in both PvE and PvP? What will give him the cutting edge his size deserves?
Well, to answer the question of how the Dervish is going to play, to put it in a word better, unfortunately before, the Dervish kind of was a really interesting concept, and it's a neat thing to base a class around, but in actuality, for the execution of it, there were just some problems with it. It's not an uncommon scenario that if you're playing a Dervish, you're getting into a fight, and you're sitting there saying, okay, I'm going to do this for a while, I'm putting on all of my enchantments, and then by the time you're, hey, I'm ready to run into battle, the rest of your party is over there and they're saying, dude, the fight's already done, what's going on here? So it was really just kind of slow and impractical because you have to always stop in order to put your enchantments on. So where flash enchantments come in, that's one of the new mechanics to the Dervish. And even just this is a massive deal for them. It's the ability to put an enchantment on you without stopping. This plays in with teardown combos, which are a really big thing that was added as well. That Dervish skills, when you get an effect when you put them on, it's usually an AoE, and there's an ending effect that happens when you pull the effect, or you pull the enchantment off, that's also AoE. So it's centered on getting you into the action quicker and having a bigger reason for you to stay there and things to go on. Along with flash enchantments, scythe changes happened as well, because unfortunately, the scythe came along with the Dervish, and that's kind of a cool selling point. But as it turns out that, a warrior, an assassin, a ranger, probably even a monk if he felt like it, even your grandma could be better than the Dervish with the scythe. So some changes were made with that in order to address it. The critical hit damage on the scythe has been lowered, and the attack speed of the scythe has been increased. So what we're getting out of that is, if it's not huge spikes of damage from a critical, it makes it less appealing of a weapon to an assassin. And having it be faster makes it better for the Dervish in terms of, their white damage. It's actually about equivalent to what they were doing before. A lot of these skills that the Dervish uses for scythe attacks were converted over to adrenaline, which makes it more beneficial for the Dervish as opposed to a ranger who before was using expertise in order to lower the energy costs so that they could spam scythe skills really quickly. The other benefit that we get out of this is the changes to mysticism make it so that Dervish enchantments cost less for a Dervish, so they're going to have an inherent advantage there. Also, teardown skills generally will do more damage than non-teardown skills, so there's another advantage for the Dervish there. And it also, if you're going to use the scythe, it just makes it more appealing to use these mechanics with them.
You changed almost every Dervish skill there is with the last update. What about PvE title track skills? You changed Surin Scan and Biural's Hammer. Will there be any more?
Okay, the two big ones that are going to be changing are Asuran Scan and Biural's Hammer, because these are two skills that are flat damage modifiers. When PvE skills like this were added to the game with Eye of the North, we were under the impression that a lot of, everyone was going to be moving over to GW2. We knew that there would be a live team that would be very small, and we were believing that it would just be a maintenance only role, bug fixes here and there in order to, make sure the game is polished and maintained. As you've seen, over time the live team has grown, and we're putting out new content, keeping the story going, which makes it harder to have skills that exist in the game that are inherently better than anything else that you can have. They're overpowered to the point of being staples to a build, which tends to segregate out the player base. If you have this, you can get in a party. If you don't have this, or if it's not at its peak of efficiency, too bad. You're just simply inferior to everyone else, and that's not the kind of thing we want to be encouraging. We want builds to have diversity. PvE skills in an ideal world would be things they are utility skills. They add something new and interesting to your class. It's not just strictly, this is the thing that makes me better. So for skills like that, we will continue to address and make changes as necessary in the future.
Okay, hearing for the next one for the first time got me really excited. And I mean really excited. I do not want to steal your thunder on that one, as I cannot even begin to imagine how you must feel to finally reveal it. Mercenary Heroes.
Yes, Mercenary Heroes is a super exciting feature, and it's one of first of the many big things that we're going to be doing this year. It's a new microtransaction item that's going into the store, and basically what it boils down to is it is the ability to take any of your characters that you have on your account, and if they meet the requirements, you can turn them into a hero for your other characters to use. This means, you have heroes that look exactly the way you want them to look. They are the professions that you want them to be. And, if you want to customize them with either costumes or this type of armor or whatnot, you can go ahead and do all that. If you have a character that is at level 20, that's all you have to do is go and talk to a Mercenary Hero registrar. And if you have a slot for it, he can take an image of that character as it exists right then and make that character available as a hero for you. So in the long run, not only can you have characters that look like you want running around with you, you can also make any kind of party composition with this that you want to. So this is going to be a really big one, and really excited to see it going out.
Pre-searing. Many players love it, many players even refuse to leave it. Several times you provided them with nice items like the jar bag. I understand you have something for them this time?
Yes, there's actually going to be two big things that are going into pre-searing. One of them leads into the other. The first is that we're adding a series of 9 daily quests that can happen in pre-searing, which you'll be accepting from a familiar face, a younger, now Lieutenant Langmar. These happen once every day, as our other daily quests do. These will scale relevant to the level of the person that is leading the party. So if it is, you are levels, say, 15 to 20, the enemies you're going to encounter are going to be harder, but you'll get a higher reward commensurate to it. The reason why we're adding these is the Legendary Defender of Ascalon title. This has kind of been a weird one that has been in the game for a while now. At some point, very dedicated fans found a way to get to level 20 in pre-searing, which is a really cool accomplishment. The only unfortunate thing is the title was put into the game as is, which encourages players to have to go out and death level for, spend your entire night just dying over and over and over to the char in order to get them to a high enough level where they're in turn worth experience to you again, and a process over months and months of time just to get yourself to level 20 in order to get this title. And it's cool that people really want to do that, but we would rather have it so that there's a way to do it that you're actually playing the game, because when you say Legendary Defender and died at char for months on end, it doesn't really feel very compelling. So these daily quests are a way for you to earn the experience to get yourself to that title while playing the game. And because they're daily in nature, it's still going to be an investment in time. So not to devalue the people that have already put it in and earned the title, but it's just a more friendly way to encourage people to get that. Along those lines, we've also added Chemist the Historian will be showing up in pre-searing, and he can now dedicate titles to your Hall of Monuments. Specifically, he can take Legendary Defender of Ascalon, he can take Survivor, he can take Party Animal, he can take Drunkard, and he can take Sweet Tooth and dedicate those for you. So for the people that want to remain in pre-searing, they now no longer have to leave once they've earned their Legendary Defender title in order to dedicate it and get it on their account.
Wow, this is actually a lot of changes in just one update. How do you feel putting this up?
Very excited. This build is kind of what I want to use to set the tone for the rest of the year. It's been a long time coming, but I hope once it's out there, people will appreciate all the work that has gone into it and the changes and the impact that it has on the game, and kind of take that as a note for this is what we can look forward to in the future. And it's an exciting time to be playing Guild Wars.
So what are your plans now? Vacation, or have you already started working on the next big thing?
We have already been working on our upcoming projects. Work has been progressing on the Winds of Change storyline that we're going to be doing in Cantha. In addition to that, we have some PvP stuff that we've been working on. And there's also going to be something that'll be happening in April that I will say absolutely nothing about, aside to say that it will be amazing.
Speaking of Guild Wars Beyond, how bad will it get for the humans before the release of Guild Wars 2? Will we actually be there to see the foe fire striking down on Ascalon?
The foe fire is kind of an interesting topic, and it's one of the things that it's a big moment in Guild Wars history, one that we would like to be able to tell and to be able to do it justice. There's some trickery that has to happen in order for that to be something that you can play through, because for the timeline, it's much further down the road than where Guild Wars Beyond stuff has been currently. And to be consistent with the lore, everyone that is a part of that is turned to a ghost forever. You're dead. That's not really something we want to have happen to the player character, nor do we want to get into the weird tomfoolery of a magical artifact protects you from the effects of the faux fire, this, that, the next thing. But it is a story that we would like to tell, and it's something that we want to tell in a very compelling way, but that's going to be coming down the line.
Thank you very much for this interview. It was amazing for you being able to be with us today, taking the time to answer all of our questions. Anything you want to add we didn't dare to ask?
Well, first off, I want to say thank you for having me. It was a pleasure being able to do this, my first video interview. Maybe now I'll have the chance of getting my own forum emoticon just like Colin. I'm not holding my breath on that happening though. There's going to be definitely some awesome things coming that you'll be hearing about over the next couple of months, and stay tuned.
Again, thank you very much. There you have it. Guild Wars will undergo some massive changes with this update and the updates to come. I hope you enjoyed the show, and hopefully we will be seeing each other in game. And remember, this update will be ready for all of us to play today. For more information about Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2, go to our website www.wartower.de. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.